is really just to thank all of our citizens for their support, irrespective of what party affiliation.
Mixed reactions as Supreme Court delivers judgments on governorship elections in some states. What will be the impact on governance? Federal government inaugurates Nigeria Philanthropy Office, prioritizes women in micro, small and medium enterprises.
Philanthropy not is an isolated act, but is the lifeblood of our society.
Armed Forces Remembrance Day. President Tinubu joins worshippers for special Jummat prayers.
Nigerians should continue to support our gallant army's endeavors.
Anticipation about Super Eagles at the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations. All you need to know on our countdown tonight with Ayodeji Makinde. Welcome to the Network News. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. Adiola Komi-Akere will be joining us later tonight from Lagos, and we'll be joining Ayodeji Makinde as well to give us all the AFCON updates. Remember that you can watch this broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live. Do follow us across all social media platforms as well for the latest news. President Bola Tinubu suspends the 4 programs administered by the National Social Investment Program Agency for 6 weeks. They are NPAR, Conditional Cash Transfer, Government Enterprise and Empowerment, and the Homegrown School Feeding Program. The suspension is in line with the ongoing investigation on the alleged mismanagement of funds in the agency. A ministerial panel has also been constituted to conduct a thorough review of the agency's operations with a view to recommending necessary reforms of the NSIPA. During the period of this suspension, the statement says all NSIPA-related activities, including but not limited to all distributions, events, payments, collaborations and registrations, are now on hold. The President assures Nigerians that his administration remains committed to ensuring that the agency operates optimally for the benefit of vulnerable Nigerians. President Bola Tinubu is also imploring governors elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC, to design and implement policies which prioritize all Nigerians and to always consider national interest above political affiliations. The president, who received members of the Progressive Governors Forum at the State House, believes development policies will only find full relevance in people's lives when there is inclusivity, ownership and sustainability. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports.
Officially, first meeting in the year between President Tinubu and governors on the platform of his party. The leadership role of the president and his party would come to play. Issues surrounding national progress and that of their respective states were equally on the table before the progressive executives. The government at the center has put forward some social and economic measures, but the president wants the subnational leaders on the same page. And he said one of the biggest challenges the nation faces is divisiveness, but that the governing party must work towards healing and unifying the country by ensuring a collective national vision and channeling energy and resources into nation building. The president said Nigeria is too blessed with human, natural and material resources to be struggling with a dearth of quality infrastructure, good education and world-class health facilities. On his part, he expressed the resolve of his government to improve on the entire financial system of the country for inclusivity, effectiveness and efficiency, while seeking the collaboration of the state governments for continuation and successful implementation of the Reloading School Feeding Program. The president said the program would encourage more investment in agriculture, particularly in livestock farming and dairy. On security, the president said the deployment of forest guards is being considered with better training, modern technological gadgets and weapons to strengthen security, and that the solid mineral and marine economic sectors will also be secured by special police. Again, the progressive governors lauded the retooling steps of the president of the economy, just as they appreciated his support for the sub-nationals.
Particularly in some interventions that are outside the statutory allocations. And the president is happy with that and also encourage him as a result of the insecurity in the country. Acknowledge his efforts, commend him for doing so well. So President, going by the trajectory so far, is following, are doing those things that will make Nigeria save more money, make the economy be recovered and be rebuilt, strengthened, so that the masses will now have better standard of living, security will be guaranteed, the welfare of citizens will also be guaranteed, which is the statutory function of government, the welfare and security of the people. So the president is on the right track, and as leaders, we must rise and be vocal about his achievements, so that those following us will understand better.
They reaffirmed their belief in the capacity of their leader, recommitting support toward achieving a more prosperous and peaceful country. From the State House, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
The Supreme Court sitting in Abuja has reversed the decision of the Kano State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal and that of the Court of Appeal Abuja, which nullified the election of Abba Kabir Yusuf as Governor of Kano State. The five-man panel of justices led by Justice John Okoro in a unanimous decision affirmed Abba Yusuf as the duly elected Governor of Kano State. Dele Atumbi of our Judiciary Desk reports on this and three other governorship appeals.
Kano State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal in September nullified the election of Abba Kabir Yusuf of NNPP as the Governor of Kano State and pronounced Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna of the All Progressives Congress as Governor-elect. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja in November 2023 upheld the decision of the tribunal, which cancelled 165,616 votes from NNPP votes due to the absence of stamping of the ballots. In a substantial verdict, the Supreme Court restored the cancelled votes and made a consequential verdict by pronouncing Abba Kabir Yusuf as the duly elected governor of Kano State. Justice John Iyango Okoro, who delivered the lead judgment, held that the law of natural justice was turned upside down by the two courts below to arrive at the unjust and unfair decision. The court thereafter allowed the appeal of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf. The Apex Court also allowed the appeal of the Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang. Though the tribunal upheld the election of the governor, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja nullified the declaration and return of the governor. In a well-considered verdict of the Supreme Court, the five-man panel of justices averred that the Court of Appeal lacked jurisdiction. The Apex Court reversed the decision of the Court of Appeal and found merit in the appeal by Governor Caleb Mutfwang. The Apex Court also dismissed the two appeals against the election of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State. The candidates of Labour Party and PDP were the appellants in the matter. The court affirmed the declaration and return of Babajide Sanwo-Olu as Governor of Lagos State. The appeal of Sadiq Abubakar of the APC on the conduct of the Bauchi State governorship election was equally dismissed. Sadiq Abubakar challenged the election of Governor Bala Muhammad. The Supreme Court dismissed the appeal for lacking in merit due to the inability of the appellant to substantiate alleged non-compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 in the conduct of the election.
By the verdict of the court today, we believe that democracy is back on track in Nigeria. And it is the attestation and affirmation of good governance and faith in the judiciary and the judicial process.
I want to thank their lordships who have today restored confidence in the judiciary. Their lordships have demonstrated courage that justice is still available in Nigeria.
All of us here and our colleagues who are not here are extremely gratified that the Supreme Court has corrected the obvious errors that were committed by the lower courts.
The verdicts of the Supreme Court have put paid to all litigations on the conduct of governorship elections in Kano, Lagos, Plateau, and Bauchi states. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Similarly, reprieve has come the way of the governors of Zamfara, Cross River, Abia and Ebonyi states as the Supreme Court has validated their victory of the March 18, 2023 governorship election. Olabode Arewa reports that the Supreme Court panel of justices, which sat on the 4 appeals, delivered concurrent verdicts on the appeals.
Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara filed the appeal against the decision of the Court of Appeal, which had declared former governor, now Minister of State Defense, as winner of the Zamfara governorship election. The apex court, after reviewing the arguments canvassed by all the parties, held that ex-governor Matawale's claims that election irregularities took place on election day were not supported by evidence. It therefore upheld Governor Dauda's victory. The apex court also upheld the victory of Abia Governor Alex Otti in the appeals filed by Oke Aiwe of the People's Democratic Party and Ikechi Emenike of the All Progressives Congress. The apex court, in doing so, threw out the appellant's claims that Otti was not a registered Labour Party member, as at the deadline prescribed by INEC for parties to submit their candidates' names. In the Ebonyi State governorship election appeal, the court also affirmed the victory of Governor Francis Nwifuru after dismissing the appeal filed by Chukwuma Odi of the People's Democratic Party against the decisions of the appellate and trial courts. Similarly, the apex court affirmed Cross River State Governor Basi Otu's victory at the 2023 election after dismissing the appeal filed by Professor Sandy Ono.
Today, the Supreme Court did marvelously well, and I am happy. We are happy that today, Abia people can rest. Mr. Governor's election has been further validated by their lordships.
In reaching these decisions, the apex court observed that issues of political party membership remained an internal party affair.
Especially, let me thank the courts for delivering justice to the people of Ebonyi State.
It is the last bus stop for the candidates who contested against the victorious governors. From the Supreme Court, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Now joining me live is one of the victors at the Supreme Court today, the Governor of Plateau State, Governor Caleb Mutfwang. Thank you and congratulations, Your Excellency. Thank you for joining NTA News.
Thank you, Najatu. Thank you, NTA. Thank you, Plateau people. Thank you, Nigerians.
Your Excellency, what does this victory mean to you and the good people of Plateau State?
This victory is a victory for me, is a victory for the people of Plateau State, is a victory for Nigeria, and for me, it is an incentive to work for the advancement, for the good and the advancement of the good people of Plateau State. By the grace of God, this is like a renewed mandate, and we're going to strive to ensure that we do not disappoint the people.
Now, did you in any way hold back on governance due to the litigations over your election?
I must be honest with you, Naja, that the litigation has been a big distraction. But despite that, we have tried our best to steer the ship of governance by ensuring that we continue to provide the services we ought to provide to our people in the little way we can. Like you know, most of the governors who have been having cases in court have had to stay a lot in Abuja. But despite that, we've tried our best, and I'm sure that governance is still going on fairly well on the plateau.
And now that you've mentioned service to the people, how will this victory have an impact on governance in your state and the good people who are residing there?
Like I said, we will continue to do what we have been doing. We'll fine-tune what we have started to do. We'll strive to see how we can leverage on the experience of the past 7 months and rejig the governance process to ensure that inefficiencies are done away with, and we can be able to ensure that our people get value for money, and by the grace of God, we would raise the bar in governance.
So I suppose raising the bar is one of the priorities now after victory.
Absolutely. We owe the people a debt of gratitude, and the only way we can pay that debt of gratitude is to serve them to the best of our conscience, to the best of our abilities, and to the glory of God.
Now, any message to your opponents now that litigations are over?
Now that litigations are over, my call to my opponent is, come, let's work together. Plateau is for all of us, and I'm sure that this marks the formal end of politicking, and therefore we can face governance together. The space is very large, and you will be welcome on board, together with all those that supported him. For me, there is neither victor nor vanquished. We are all victors together, and I'm sure with the right collaboration, we can bring good governance to the people of Plateau State.
All victors together, that's the rallying call of the Governor of Plateau State, Governor Caleb Mutfwang. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for joining us.
Thank you once again, Najatu. Thank you, NTA. Thank you, Nigerians, and particularly Plateau people. God bless you.
I've been speaking with Governor Caleb Mutfwang on the Supreme Court judgment, his victory at the Supreme Court today. Now, another victor, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, has reacted to this Friday's Supreme Court judgment, affirming him as the duly elected governor of the state. The governor, who reacted in his chat with State House correspondents, described the judgment as a victory for all Lagosians. Governor Sanwo-Olu says with litigation now over, his attention is focused on delivering greater benefit.
But pretty much, it's really just to thank all of our citizens in Lagos for their support, irrespective of what party affiliation you are, and to call everyone, all Lagosians, to join us once again on our Greater Lagos journey. It's a journey where we've said no one will be left behind. We are transforming the state, the city. We're building structures, processes, institutions that will outlive us, and we're putting in place a governance structure that would improve the economic, relevance of Lagos in the country.
Now, good news for small business owners, especially women, as the federal government has inaugurated the Nigeria Philanthropy Office with a commitment to establish 12 hubs across the country. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that the Nigeria Philanthropy Office targets 50% women as beneficiaries through micro, small and medium enterprises.
This is the first ever philanthropic office inaugurated to support the renewed Hope agenda, targeting 50% women as beneficiaries through micro, small and medium enterprises.
I appeal to all members to embark on this journey with a collective vision. A vision that sees philanthropy not as an isolated act, but as the lifeblood of our society, coursing through every vein, nourishing the roots of our nation's prosperity.
And I know we are going to partner with them. We are active partners with our more agenda. We are going to create wealth because we have the Wealth and Creation Office in Delta State, and this is a very good thing for us, and I believe my other governors will be part of it.
The federal government, in collaboration with the international philanthropic organizations and partners, will raise $200 million to create jobs.
We will be instrumental in ensuring the successful implementation of the MPO mandate, and hope that this will be the beginning of a series of engagements to achieve that objective.
Nigerian philanthropists and impact investors living in the diaspora, we will be designing structures where Nigerians abroad can also be philanthropists and impact investors and support SMEs in the country.
We are trying to achieve something by the special grace of God that will change the way governance is done in the entire continent of Africa.
The office will also provide interventions with potentials for employing many Nigerians. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
This is the network news on NTA, still talking the Supreme Court judgments validating the elections of some state governors, and residents of Plateau, Kano, Bauchi and Ebonyi states have reacted to the victories, and our correspondents captured some of the moments.
The judgment has been so good to us. What I have is an advice to all Platonians. We should be one.
It's a victory of the masses, and the court has affirmed the victory.
It's God that has done it. So that's why joy is everywhere.
Our heart is full of joy in the land of Plateau.
Finally, the justice has prevailed. Abba is now the genuine governor of Kano said.
At last, democracy won. And we are very happy with the judicial system of Nigeria.
Abba Kabir Yusuf, the governor of Kano State, he has been doing okay. He has been improving.
The other side to take it in a good faith. That is my personal opinion.
It is a mandate given to him by the people of the state. He should hold that mandate and respect the will of the people.
It's a victory for the continuation of the good works the governor have already set in place in the past 8 months. The government and people of Ebonyi State is happy because the will and wish of the people of Ebonyi State, as expressed through the ballot box, have been upheld by the Apex Court.
For the fact that God has finally given him victory today, my brother, I want to say that this is a new dawn.
He now relax and do his work very well and take care of Fireball.
Excitement captured by our correspondents there on the Supreme Court victory. And joining me live is Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Akinlolu Kehinde, SAN, to share his learned insight into the Supreme Court judgment. Thank you very much for joining us on NTA News.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what is your impression, Learned Silk, on the verdict delivered by the Supreme Court today?
First of all, I must commend the industry of the Apex Court. The Apex Court has demonstrated once again that it is not just the final court, but that it is the bastion of the democracy in this great country. Their lordships delivered 8 judgments on the whole today. And the spontaneous reaction of the people in the various states affected is a clear demonstration that justice has been served to the people. I was in the court from the commencement of the delivery of the judgment until the end of the session today. And I must say, without any fear of any contradiction, that what the Supreme Court has done today is to re-emphasize the fact that the settled position of the law must be followed by every subordinate court. And that is exactly what played out, especially in the case of Kano and Plateau. I will single out those 2 states. In Kano State, the trial tribunal held that the governor was not a member of the political party that sponsored him. And also that 165,000 ballot papers were not signed. But the court held that 1, the evergreen position of the law that has been established over the years, and which was confirmed even only last year by my Lord Justice Jauro in one of the landmark cases that my Lord delivered, that the issue of membership of a political party is the internal affair of that political party, is a domestic affair, and that it is not the responsibility of another political party to peep from its house into the fence of another political party and be questioning the membership of that other political party. And that the reliance, the erroneous reliance by the lower court on the provisions of Section 177C of the Constitution to the effect that the court can look at the issue of membership and use it to disqualify a duly elected governor is not available to the opposing party. That one, the issue of membership is a domestic affair. Two, the timeline within which to challenge anything that happened before the election must be done. That is why it is called pre-election. It must be done before the election. Then two, the window to challenge anything about what happened before the election is circumscribed, is open to only an aspirant that participated in that party's political primary, not just any Dick and Harry. And anybody who has no locus, that is legal standing, to so challenge the primary is an interloper. He has no business coming to the court. So that issue was resolved.
I mean, the court did make it clear that some of these issues you just discussed are one of internal party affairs. Just to round up, though, just briefly, Nigerians seem to like to do litigations a lot. What do you have to say about this?
Well,
versus, you know, arbitration or any other peaceful means or any other means?
Unfortunately, in our electoral jurisprudence, there is no room for arbitration. But I want to beg our practitioners, especially the senior lawyers, it is not every case that you must take to court. We must be sincere to our clients and tell them the home truth. This particular action will not fly. Don't ridicule us by taking this sort of case to court and bringing the whole system into disrepute. I will also encourage, especially our intermediate court, the Court of Appeal, that they have no choice. Once a position has been laid down by the Supreme Court, it is judicial rascality for them to depart from it, which is what happened with respect in some of these courts, in some of these states, like Plateau, Kano, and a number of other states. It was what they did with respect. I'm not castigating the whole bench of the Court of Appeal, but those ones got themselves involved in judicial rascality. And what is good, what is bad. What they did has no basis in law, and the Supreme Court has condemned it. I'm not the one condemning it. And let them also have a rethink that they owe this country, the survival of this democracy, we all owe it this country.
Thank you very much,
this country.
sir.
Thank you so very much. I'm grateful for having me.
Thank you very much for sharing your insight. I've been speaking with Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Akinlolu Kehinde, SAN, on the Supreme Court judgment. The governing All Progressives Congress, APC, describes the Supreme Court decision in the outcome of petitions challenging the 2023 governorship elections in 8 states as a welcome development and a true reflection of our justice system. In a statement signed by party's National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, the APC commends the Supreme Court for the historic judgment and congratulates APC and the opposition governors for their deserved victories. The governing party cautions opposition parties whose utterances recently undermined the nation's courts and threatened judges in the procedural layers to the final judgments to learn to respect the law and those who serve justice. The party says that those who vilify the judiciary should tender apologies for displaying anti-democratic approach to issues of constitutional relevance and turn a new leaf for the growth and advancement of democracy. The People's Democratic Party Governors Forum felicitates with governors of Akwa Ibom, Bauchi, Enugu, Plateau and Zamfara states on their Supreme Court victories. The Director General of the Forum, in a statement, describes the judgment as landmark and further confirmation of the people's mandate. PDP governors laud the Supreme Court for consistently upholding the Constitution within the ambit of democracy and the rule of law. Similarly, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 general election, Atiku Abubakar, congratulates governors of the PDP whose elections were upheld by the Supreme Court. While congratulating Governor Kabir Yusuf Abba of the NNPP, the former vice president says the verdict of the apex court is a victory to democracy and the people of the affected states. Atiku urges the governors of the opposition to continue to play their part for the enthronement of good governance. And now that the 34th AFCON is set to kick off in less than 24 hours, Africa and the rest of the world are set to witness the best of football on the continent. All 24 participating countries are already in Côte d'Ivoire with their aim set on the ultimate prize, the trophy, on February 11. Bookmakers are already tipping defending champion Senegal to go all out again, while the 2022 FIFA 2 World Cup semi-finalists are in the mix. Well, Ayo will tell us the rest, will give us all the updates which we need to know. Ayo Deji.
Oh, thank you very much, Naja. It's been a very good build-up in the last few days as we have the up to start predicting that Nigeria has an outside chance of winning, considering the fact that we have the Lions of Teranga as the favorites coming in as defending champions of the tournament. But let's also tell you that just like you were saying the other time about bookmakers who have made the predictions, that Nigeria is in this tournament with a team which has so many questions. Now, the question number one is about the team spirit. The second one is about the goalkeeping department, where, of course, we have so many questions being raised. But before we really go into that, let's take a look at the 6 outstanding venues that will be hosting matches of AFCON 2023.
We look at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium, commonly known as the Olympic Stadium of Ebimpe and formerly known as the National Stadium of Ivory Coast. It is a multi-purpose stadium in northern Abidjan. It was opened in 2020. The stadium, which hosts most of the Ivory Coast national football team, has a capacity of 60,000 seats. It is the largest in Ivory Coast with a modern touch of facilities. This stadium will host the opening match between Ivory Coast and Guinea-Bissau and the final of the tournament. The same stadium that will host the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea on Sunday. Next is the State Felix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium, named after the nation's first president. Built in 1952 and opened in 1964, has 40,000 capacity and has gone through phases of renovations to meet modern taste of sporting event. It's also a heritage site for Ivory Coast, with the stadium being a part of AFCON history since 1984. Stade de la Paix comes next. This stadium, located in Bouaké, stands as an iconic symbol for the Ivorians with a capacity of 40,000 seats. It's been part of the country's AFCON history since 1984 and remains memorable for the country in a number of football matches. Recent development has brought expansion of the facility to include a media center and the seating capacity. Amadou Gon Coulibaly Stadium, located in Korogo, northern parts of Ivory Coast, is a newly built facility with a 20,000 capacity. It is designed as part of the AFCON 2023 legacy, which includes a natural grass field, an athletics track, and a broadcasting facility. Laurent Polko Stadium joins the list of stadia for the 2023 AFCON. Located in San Pedro, the stadium stands as an architectural beauty and a symbol of Ivory Coast cultural richness. It can house 20,000 spectators and more. Last and of course not the least is the Charles Konan Bani Stadium, situated in Yamoussoukro, the capital city of Ivory Coast. The stadium is a new addition reflecting the city's dynamic architectural landscape. It has a 20,000 capacity with a comprehensive media facility facilities, and an athletic track. Now you know the stadia to host the 2023 AFCON. Beyond this, sports pundits and observers of African football say each of the stadium is not just a sports venue, but a symbol of progress, culture and economic development, with commitment by Ivory Coast to enhance its sports infrastructure and show the world its readiness to host future events.
Thanks, Abdul Ajia. Now, Nigeria as co-host with Ghana in the year 2000 finished as runner-up to Cameroon after regulation time stood at 2-0. Now, Tijani Babangida, who now joins us via Zoom, was a member of that team that lost in the final to Cameroon after winning gold for Nigeria at the Atlanta Olympic Games. Tijani Babangida, thanks for joining us on the Network News at 9.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, TJ Babangida, tell us, what should the Super Eagles be looking up to in this championship, knowing full well that they have perhaps an outside chance of eventually winning the championship?
Well, the expectation, of course, always when it comes to Nation Cup, Nigeria are always in the forefront of winning the cup. And that is what we are expecting. That is what Nigerians are expecting. But it's not easy. They know it themselves that it's not going to be easy. And we are hoping that the Super Eagles are going to prevail.
Now, TJ Babangida, tell us, what do they need to put into consideration? You played at that championship in the year 2000. Nigeria scaled through in the semi-final against Senegal, but unfortunately lost via penalties when there were no VAR in the year 2000. This is a team of stars. How can they make themselves a star team?
Yes, you see, we played against Senegal 2000, and at that time they were having a younger team, and the team was just coming up. Now you see Senegal is a very strong team. At the same time, look at, I will call Morocco, I will call Algeria, and at the same time, Nigeria. So you mentioned about 5 great nations that many people are thinking that these nations can be able to win the cup. But let me talk about my own country, Nigeria, which we have the belief that these boys can make it, even though we've been hit by some injuries now. We have our 2 top strikers that are out with injury, but that will not disturb us from winning, because we have somebody like Osimhen and the rest players that are coming. I think that we will do well, for sure.
Talking about doing well, the goalkeeping department seems to be a challenge. You obviously scored so many goals against so many goalkeepers. What advice will you be giving to the trio that have been selected? Olorunleke Ojo, Stanley Wabali, and of course, Francis Uzoho.
Well, I think that the competition in the goalkeeping aspect, you can see, is there. Nigerians, we are not having full confidence in the keeper's aspect. I saw that the technical advisor has come up with an European experienced goalkeeper coach that can be able to assess the 3 keepers. And they had a friendly match, 2 friendly matches, and they tested these keepers. I think they are going to present the best one. If Ozoho is the best, he's going to keep. Otherwise, if they put him in the bench, I'm sure that they will select the best keeper. But Nigerians are not really comfortable with the keepers right now, at the moment.
Tijani Babangida, a member of the Dream Team 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games, would like to thank you for joining us on the Network News at 9 for your expectations and that of many Nigerians concerning the Super Eagles at AFCON 2023.
Thank you, DJ, for having me. Thank you.
And of course, that's the countdown on the Network News tonight. Time now to go over to our Lagos Network Center, where Adiola is standing by. Good evening, Adiola.
The winning streak sustained by the Nigerian capital market in 2024, analysts say, is a continuation of huge success recorded in 2023, which had Nigeria Exchange Group hit a new all-time high, making 2023, I beg your pardon, the 9th most successful year in the 39th year history of the market. Amaka Owo reports.
The final day of trading on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Group in 2023 had the all-share index appreciate by 0.36% to close at 74,773.77 basis points, making it a significant increase from the previous 74,502.58 basis points. In the year 2024, the market has sustained a bullish outcome. This, analysts say, has continued to boost investors' confidence in the market.
I think that the markets have actually responded very positively to Mr. President. You would find that many metrics, whether it's liquidity, the growth of the market capitalization, just the level of interest, you'll find that all of those have shot up materially. So the markets have reacted quite well. I think that the markets now are at a point where they would like to see a bit more action.
We saw a lot of, commercial paper issuances in the debt, market, and the total market capitalization of the debt market is 169 trillion naira, which is far higher than the equity market. And what does this tell you? This tells you that there is a lot of beliefs, there is positive sentiment in the market, and we can only hope for the better.
Most of the central banks across the world, they decided to maintain the interest rates unchanged, citing reduced inflation as reasons for that. So that also has made investors to increase their interest in the market, and the equities market has been growing significantly.
Analysts are hopeful that the favorable policies of the government will strengthen performance of the market in year 2024. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
The military is one of the greatest assets a country can boast of, and in or out of service, the officers can add value to strengthen the architecture if given the opportunity. Larry Belay engaged some Army top brass in Lagos, where they called for more synergy, encouraging officers and men to always put Nigeria first in all their dealings.
The Nigerian Army has always maintained its combat-ready status at all times. This is evident in constant training and retraining of officers on the latest military strategies, acquiring of latest defensive and offensive equipments, various joint task force and singular asymmetrical operations being embarked upon by the Army.
With this, it is expected that the Army should change their tactics and concentrate more on intelligence, and that's what they've been doing.
All these activities are hinged on adequate finance, which is crucial to successful operations, the duty of the Nigerian Army Finance Corps.
Finance goes a very long way in meeting the needs of the personnel and their families, in providing the necessary equipment for the fighting troops, and it's always a big morale booster when troops allowances and salaries are paid promptly, which so far the Nigerian government has sustained over the years.
The Nigerian Army Finance Corps pledged to continue carrying out its responsibilities and the overall interest of transforming the nation's army into a well-equipped, trained and well-motivated force. Meanwhile, 9 generals were pulled out of the Nigerian Army Finance Corps with a pledge to continue to support the federal government in its security goals. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of 11 new chief executive officers for agencies under the Federal Ministry of Arts and Culture and Creative Economy. They are Tola Akirili, Director General, National Theatre; Dr. Shuaibu Hussaini, Director General, National Films and Censors Board; Mr. Obi Asika, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture; Aisha Adamu Augi, Director General, Center for Black and African Arts and Culture; Epolado Ibi Konyan, Chief Conservator, National War Museum; Ahmed Sudengi, Director General, National Gallery of Art. Others are Chalia Shagaya, Director General, National Institute of Archaeology and Museum Studies; Hajia Khaltume Bula Magana, Artistic Director, National Troupe of Nigeria; Otumba Biodun Ajiboye, Director General, National Institute for Cultural Orientation, Ali Nuhu, Managing Director, Nigerian Film Corporation, and Ramatu Abombo Mohammed, Director General, National Commission for Museums and Monuments. The President mandates the appointees to discharge their duties in accordance with the highest standards of professionalism, diligence, and patriotism, with a view to making the creative sector more vibrant. President Bola Tinubu, serving and retired military personnel, joined other Muslim faithful at the Abuja National Mosque to pray for the repose of the souls of those who lost their lives defending the territorial integrity of the country, and for Allah's continued victory for those in active service. Religious correspondent Abdullahi Ajia reports that the Imam, Professor Ibrahim Magari, in his sermon enjoined worshippers to remain steadfast in the fear of Allah and act of patriotism at all times.
The Imam of the Abuja National Mosque, Professor Ibrahim Magari, in his sermon to the congregation, draws the attention of worshippers on the fabrics of social cohesion, peaceful coexistence, and social justice, which the cleric maintains are parts of religious obligation upon Muslims required to build the nation. He emphasizes the need for obedience to law and order, with President Bola Tinubu, members of the armed forces, and representatives of government in attendance. The Imam led a special dua for Allah's continued benevolence on the Nigerian military, whose sacrifice, he says, is a commitment to security of lives and property, as well as a symbol of unity that citizens enjoy.
The message is how Nigerians should continue to support our gallant armies in their endeavors, because without the support of the citizen, they cannot deliver on their assignment.
I call on Nigerians to continue to support our fallen heroes, to continue to pray and support our armed forces that are in the field.
The cleric enjoins the congregation and indeed Nigerians to rededicate themselves to nation building. The special Jumaat prayer is one of the activities lined up to commemorate the 2024 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. In Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu sympathizes with former President Goodluck Jonathan over the passing of his elder sister, Madam Obebateng Jonathan, fondly called Amisi, praying for the repose of the soul of the departed and urging the Jonathans to take solace in her legacy of service to God and humanity. Similarly, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has also commiserated with former President Goodluck Jonathan, praying God to grant the Jonathan family fortitude to bear the loss. The Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, has described the death of foremost broadcast engineer Edward Idris Amana as synonymous to the incineration of the archive of Nigeria's broadcast digital switchover. Praying for the repose of his soul, BON commiserates with the family of engineer Amana and the broadcast industry, noting that his demise comes at a time when his professional wealth of experience is required to mainstream a meaningful broadcast digital switchover in Nigeria. The Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, has led a delegation to condole with the family of former Executive Director of Engineering, late Edward Amana, who passed on a few days ago after a brief illness.
Morning. Friends, loved ones and colleagues came offering words of solace. Management staff of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, which the late engineer Edward Amana was at one time part of, also came offering a shoulder to cry on. The team, led by the Director General of NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, offered words of prayers and encouragement to the family late Amana left behind.
It's a very big loss, not only to the Nigerian Television Authority, but to the entire broadcast industry in this country and even beyond. Engineer Amana is one individual that I have known for quite a long time, and one has learned so much from him, And we pray that the Almighty God will grant his soul and eternal rest, and also the fortitude for the family and friends to bear this great loss.
On that note, we conclude the network news on NTA. Thank you for staying with us.
This is the network service of the